Hey everybody, it is a lovely sunny Thursday today. It's the 23rd of October, so day before Dylan's birthday. He's going to be 8 tomorrow. He's super excited, bless him. He's going to take in a box of chocolates for his school friends tomorrow. And then I think we're just going to go to the mall in Bulgaria on Saturday, meet my mum, do a bit of shopping. Yeah, another day, another dog walk. So things are good for us right now. We started cracking on with the kitchen again after months of not touching it, which is nice. So I'll show you that a bit later, the progress that we've been making. I've just got to show you this lovely view we've got up here. This is the top of the village again, but from the other side. It's not a great view today, as good as usual, because it's been really foggy this morning and it's still lifting, but I'll add a photo that I took the other day where it's really clear, but it's just such a lovely view. You've got the top cheer forest down there. You can just make out the mountain in the distance. And even sometimes on a really clear day you can see the Balkan Mountains, I think, right in the distance, and you can even see a bit of Yambol city as well from up here. It is quite high. The Tunja River runs all the way along here, so where all the trees are, that's where the river is. There's a little lane actually just coming off the main road out of this village where you can go down this little lane and you can go to the river, and there's like a spot for fishing and things. It's really nice. And then of course we got our vineyard here. This is our village vineyard. There's a party up here every February the 14th, which is known as Wine Day in Bulgaria. I just love all these autumnal colours. So anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about today was, and I'm sure most of you know, especially if you own property in Bulgaria, know that you have to pay everything up to, make sure all your bills are paid up to date. I think, is it called a danik, the council tax? Everything has to be up to date if you want to sell your property. Most people know about this. However, I had an experience a few months ago which I learned a very hard lesson from. Basically, I was selling a house on behalf of a friend of a friend, so I didn't actually know this person directly, but friends of ours were supposed to be selling the property for her, but they didn't live in this village, so they asked me if I could deal with it, and I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. I did have a video on the channel, it was from about 2 years ago, and it got so much interest. And I was so busy with emails and I had a ton of interest. Anyway, a guy came to view it, a few people came to view. One guy said, yeah, I want to buy it, definitely. He had the money waiting. It was going to happen. But then unfortunately there was issues with the lady's paperwork in the end. So she would have had to come over to sort her paperwork out anyway, to sell it, because she hadn't got it all up together. I think it was to do with that she hadn't proved that she'd inherited her half. So if two people own a property, you own half each. So if somebody dies, you have to get a copy of the will and everything like that to prove that it's been inherited. So she hadn't done this anyway, so that was a pain in itself. But then while I was trying to sort of coax her to come over and sort it out, because I said, look, you know, if you don't do this, you can't sell it, you know. So anyway, I was trying to get her to come over and sort it, and in the process I had some friends in the village, Bulgarians, a lady with a young child who used to play with our son quite a lot, so they were good friends, you know, we were good friends. So long story short, she was desperate for her own place because she was still living with her parents, you know, at like 30 odd years old or whatever. She was desperate for a house and they didn't have a lot of money, or so I thought. And I just, to be honest, just being a friend, and I felt a bit sorry for her. So I gave her this opportunity. I gave her the keys. No, there was no written agreements or anything. I just said, look, you know, move in. You know, if the seller does sell the house, you're going to have to move out again, obviously. She said, yep, that's fine. I completely understand. She said, yeah, we'll do some work to the house in exchange for free rent. Thank you so much. Anyway, this is where it gets really bad. So a few months went by and we had a massive fallout over our children. So there was quite a lot of bullying from her son. Not a nice kid, to be honest, and now him and Dylan aren't allowed to see each other at all. The police got involved. It was really quite nasty. He's never had any problems with any other children here. He goes to school in town, he has lots of friends. He's, you know, most of the children here aren't like this, but there's this one boy, unfortunately, was a bit of a problem. Anyway, so that happened. We had a huge fallout. And it came to a point where I thought, you know, we're not friends anymore. I'm going to have to give her some notice. So I started contacting her saying, look, you know, because of everything that's happened, I'm going to have to give you 6 weeks to leave the property. Because I did this on like a friendship term and now this has happened. So she just blocked me from everything. And I thought, oh, she can't just block me everywhere. You know, but she did. So anyway, a little bit more time went by and I thought, you know, like, what's going on here, because I can't get hold of her. So about a month, 2 months went past and I started to think, right, this is taking the mickey now, you know, she's just avoiding me. So Jim was like, look, you're going to have to go around there and talk to her in person. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to, aren't I? So I went round to the house and she was there. And her mum answered first of all, and she was really unusually cheery with me. I thought, why are you so cheery, considering everything that's happened? And I said, look, you know, I need to ask your daughter to leave in a few weeks because of what's happened previously. And she just looked at me like I was stupid. Well, I feel really ignorant now, but I had no idea this could even happen. So she said, oh no, my daughter's bought the house. And I said, what do you mean she's bought the house? Like, she can't, like, it belongs to my friend. And she did buy the house. She got paperwork out and everything, proper deeds. And I just stared at it like, how did this happen? And I said to her, I said, does the owner know? In the best Bulgarian I possibly could. My Bulgarian's not great, but you know, we managed to get the point across. And she just looked at me and she was like, yeah, no, it's fine, everything's fine, I've bought the house, it's my house, go away, basically. And I just stood there like, what the fuck, basically. What's happened? So I phoned up my translator because she knows a lot about the law. She knows her stuff. She's really helped us out with a lot of things before. And she told me exactly what had happened. She said, basically, when I gave her the keys, and I think this had been planned for a long time because she asked me about a couple of other houses in the village. So I think this has been planned for ages. So this is what's happened. So I've given her the keys. She's gone straight down the notary. Well, first she paid the taxes. I think there was just 3 years outstanding on the council tax, the Danik. Then her and 3 witnesses or friends went down to the notary together and they all lied for her and said, yeah, she's been looking after this house for 10 years. She's been living in it, you know, looking after it, etc. Just complete and utter lies. And they just let her buy it for next to nothing on just a few people say so. I still can't believe to this day that that could even happen. Maybe I mean, if you're Bulgarian and you're watching this, you tell me if this is corrupt or not, or if this is normal, because my translator did tell me this goes on a lot, especially with, you know, English or expats houses from other countries. It happens a lot because they're less likely to chase it up, you know, as opposed to Bulgarians. So I just wanted to make this little video and just warn a few people, if you're not aware about this, be very, very careful, because I mean, it is okay if you don't, well, it's not okay, I would say pay your taxes every year without fail, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But I would just say be very careful. You know, like if you're not at your house a lot, if you leave it for long periods of time, if they can gain access, and they have broken doors in as well apparently to do this, just be very careful, because they can just buy it for, I think she paid 5,000 euros for this house and it was worth 18 at least. Anyway, I mean, what I'm just trying to say is, like, I can totally understand if it has actually been, if a property really has been left for 10 to 15 years, no payments, nobody there, no nothing, then I can understand, you know, if somebody said, yeah, I've been looking after it for 10 years, you know, okay. But the fact that they had been people there, you know, like less than 3 years ago, the bills had been paid, there was 3 years outstanding, admittedly, but I mean, surely, like, a professional body such as the notary would at least check with the mayor or something of the village to see if they were telling the truth or not. I mean, maybe they just don't care. I just thought I'd add, before I forget, to add insult to injury, the seller I told her, and she just couldn't be bothered to come and sort it out, you know. If she'd have actually come over to Bulgaria, she could have taken them to court and she could have got her house back and sold it and everything. But she just didn't want to know. Like, she was like this the whole time, and I think because she lost her husband and she just didn't want to come back to Bulgaria, like, at all. She was trying to get me to sort it all over here without her having to come. But because there was a lot she didn't do her end, like I said, she didn't do any proofs of the will or anything, so she would have struggled to sell it anyway without coming over. But, you know, it's just the fact that she could have taken them to court and just couldn't be bothered. She just lost, you know, 18,000 or whatever we were going to sell it for, you know. And obviously I lost hours of my time phoning people back and answering emails and showing people around and putting on YouTube and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I don't usually dabble in selling properties. I'm not an agent of any sort. It has really put me off doing anything like that in the future, I'm not going to lie. But if I did, it would just be for somebody that I knew really well, or yeah, just a good friend or something like that. So yeah, anyway, that's my rant. Okay, so I'll just show you guys what's going on with the kitchen at the moment. Kitten following me in. Okay, so this is the underfloor heating pipe that Jim's put in. So this is ready for a new concrete floor now. So we're going to be doing that this week, and then that's got to then go off for a week or two, and then we can probably get on with I think plastering and electrics, plumbing, things like that. So yeah, that's how it stands right now.